Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today to do this short video that's really been choreographed around preparing us for a good night's sleep. It could be done also if you felt your stress levels were rising, cortisol, adrenaline levels going up a little bit during the daytime. So you could also use the video then just to start to bring stress levels down. So I hope you enjoy. And before we get started, you just need a pillow, if you like a pillow under your head. We're going to be doing a little bit of side lying rotation this evening, so maybe a slightly thicker pillow if you know your neck and shoulder need that for comfort. So let us get started. So starting on all fours, just checking that my hands are underneath my shoulders and my knees are underneath my hips. And then just taking a nice deep breath in. And then on the out breath, just gently rounding the spine. So I'm pulling my belly up towards the ceiling, letting my head and my neck hang, and then just lengthening pubic bone away from belly button. And we'll do that 3 more times. So pushing my shins and my hands into my mat, opening up, mobilizing my spine. And again, so depending on what your activities are during the day, dictates what we need at the end of the day to release and mobilize. But for most of us, no matter what we do for a living, one of those areas is the spine. And now just swinging my bottom out towards the right side, turning my head as if I'm looking over my right shoulder, and then coming back to the other side. So my bottom swings out to my left, and as I look over my left shoulder, I'm just feeling a bit of a stretch somewhere down that right side of my body, and then back 1 more each side. So swinging, and then back 1 more over to that left, and then coming back, and then putting that together. So we're going to take the weight over more into the right hand and the right knee, rounding the spine over to the left side and back. So just keeping it moving, stirring the spine up, massaging a little bit into the hip joints, the shoulder joints, as well as the spine. So just keeping it moving, what feels good, no right or wrong, and then reversing it over to the left, rounding back to the center. So I'm not too worried about my technique. If I'm doing this late at night, as I said earlier, in preparation for bed, is not a core stability perfection type exercise. And then just take the weight off the hands for a moment, allow everything to relax down, and breathe. And then hands to the side of my legs, using my core, rebuilding my spine, and then just for a fraction of time, sitting up onto my sit bones, hands at the front of my legs, a little bowing of my neck in case I've been hunched over that computer for hours upon hours, and just allowing once again that back line of my body to release. Pubic bone curling forward, tailbone curving back and down. No tension in my shoulders. And then again, using my core to rebuild my spine to go the opposite way. So my hands are behind me, fingers can point in any direction, it's what works for you. And then from here, lifting up through the back of my pelvis first this time, pressing the floor with my hands, lifting my chest, squeezing my shoulder blades gently together, and where your head needs to be, entirely up to you. Just check there's no tension in your neck. One more time. So drawing up through the back of my pelvis so I grow taller, and then as I squeeze my shoulder blades gently together, opening my sternum, opening my chest, breathing in, and then coming back, rolling down onto our backs. So grabbing hold of your pillow if you need one, and then just allowing my arms to rest down by my sides, and then just bringing my feet, so my left foot that little bit closer in towards my left buttock, and thinking now about my rib cage relaxing down, my lower abdominal scooping as I float up my right thigh, and then just flexing my foot. So another area that gets quite tight by the end of our working day are our hamstrings on the back of the legs. So as we hold at the back of the thigh now, keeping the ribs down, lower tummy in, that's automatically imprinted in my lower back. I'm just aiming to stretch through those hamstrings. So you might only get to there. If they're really tight, that does not matter. So just extending, teasing out of those back of the thigh muscles. And then as I'm holding that, I could just hold and stay, or I could just start to point and flex my foot. So again, depending on the footwear you've been wearing today, that's quite nice to do. And then circling round, mobilizing the ankle joints, and then round the other way. And then just one final stretch, holding that shoulders are away. Breathing, holding the stretch, enjoying the stretch. And then folding that knee down. Repeating on the other side. So this time, without tightening those hamstrings, just bringing my right foot a little bit closer to my right tush there. And then as I fold up my left leg and flex the foot, now thinking of my lowest rib bones melting down to my mat, lower abs gently drawing in, and then my leg could just stay there, or I'm just going to hold there at the back of my thigh, just relaxing into that position. And then bit by bit, where do I need to go just to encourage that little bit more length in my hamstrings? Holding that stretch. And then choosing, if you wish, to point and flex. So as I flex my foot, definitely get more of a calf stretch. So great to do if you've been wearing high heels today. And then again, it's an option, circling. And then just the opposite way before we go into that final stretch and release that back line of my left leg. And then bending and bringing the foot down, and then just touching the back of my heels, arms nice and long, feet nice and energized, saying hello to the mat. So they're really actively long and flat there. And then from here going into my little pelvic rock, massaging my spine up. So we've already released the back, so really sort of sensing as we're holding this position, there's no tightening through that back wall of my spine. And again, so drawing my base ribs down, lower tummy scooping in, feeling my buttocks supporting, and either just staying here, chilling out, lengthening there, or reaching my arms forward, up and back, holding that there, and then rolling back down, massaging the spine, and then arms forward and down. Last set. So active arms, feet, ribs down, peeling up. Just checking my lowest ribs are lower than my hip bone. So again, I'm really opening the front of my thigh line and hip crease there, walking my hands underneath my body, interlacing, walking my shoulders down away from my ears, holding it there, lengthening, and then releasing the arms, releasing the spine back down, ready to come back over onto all fours. So back on all fours, and then this time curling the toes underneath us, gently rocking my hips and my shoulders back, and now really lifting up through my core, ready to push the balls of my feet into the mat, and then as if I'm being hooked up towards the ceiling from my tailbone, just relaxing. Really, really good to get the blood flow and the oxygen back to our heads. And then from here, slowly bringing my knees back down towards the floor, just resisting that little bit of a pull of gravity, and then flattening my toes out, walking my knees back this time, ribs are in, belly's in, and then slowly bending my elbows to lower me down to the mat. Taking my hands underneath my forehead into a nice open diamond press position. So just letting my chest relax towards the floor, shoulders are rolled back and down, pressing my glutes down into the mat, just feeling that lower back open and release, and then just floating up. Again, just using this to undo the day. I'm not working on increasing my back extension or trying to get up into a lovely cobra position. It's just undoing what the day can sometimes bring into the body. And again, 3 more in your own time. Just as a reminder, glutes pressing down to keep the lower back and my hips open, collarbones smiling, widening, maybe a little smile in the corners of my mouth, and then lengthening out and again. So this is the opposite position to what many of us might be in everyday life if we're desk bound. So really nice to finish off the day in the opposite position we tend to find ourselves in most. One more set. So just letting the bones on the front of my spine lengthen away and up. And then coming down. And then this is where you need to grab hold of your cushion again in a moment. And then from here, just bending, it's my left leg because I want to roll to face you, pressing my thighs, my thigh, my hips down into my mat, just to get that lovely feeling of opening at the front of my hip there again. And then I'm just going to roll over to face you, grab hold of my pillow, get rid of my hair, and then coming to lying on our side. So taking a moment as I lengthen that top leg out now, just opening that crease in the hip joint there, and then flexing my foot into some little circle. So it's a circle with a feeling of reach rather than a big circle. So just a little bit of mobilization of the hips, freeing up of the hips at the end of the day, and then holding that, softly pointing the foot. And without my ribs coming forward, reaching my big toe behind me, placing my hand on the front of the thigh as I guide my foot towards my bottom, and then my thigh and knee forward, and then reaching and a lovely big arc, ready to go again. So without the thigh bone moving just yet. Now relaxing in my hip, stretching forward, lengthening away and back. So just bringing a little bit of fluid into the knee joint, the hip joint, especially if they've been in a deep crease all day. They yearn some movement. And one more. And then taking the foot back, and then from here just reaching my fingertips away as if somebody's got hold of my fingers, hold of my toes, stretching on that diagonal line. And then if I wanted to, I could stretch the other leg out as if I'm leaping across my garden or across a beach with joy, and then relax in. So I need to swap to a bigger pillow for a little bit of rotation. So coming up, both of my arms reaching forward and checking that underside shoulder feels nice and away from my ear. And I've got knee over knee, foot over foot, just popping my top hand lightly on my shoulder. And then just as I start to do some circles, thinking about the movement coming from my shoulder blade rather than my elbow. Just a warm up before doing a little bit of rotation. And then from here, lifting my elbow up towards the ceiling, and now letting my eyes follow, holding the stretch there, and then lifting up and forward. Ready to go again, so elbow lifts, and then turning, so my breastbone, my eye gaze, opening the front, and then lifting. So you could either continue with that for a couple more or make the movement bigger. So breathing in, reaching the hands away, lifting the arm up this time, then going into the turn. I might not quite have enough room because of this wall here, so I'm going to scoot forward quickly and again. So reaching, lifting, opening, and then bringing my arm back. You can continue with that, or even bigger movement, reaching the arm forward, and then a quarter circle over my head, allowing my body to circle round. And again, as if think of the globe of the world, and we're drawing a big circle round that globe, lengthening, opening, moving, releasing, and then onto all fours again. So coming back onto all fours, toes curled under again, and then just taking my bottom and my shoulders back, lower abdominals in, and then from my tailbone as my belly button pulls in, as if somebody's hooking me up towards the ceiling. Shoulders roll back and down, reaching my sit bones up towards the sky, holding it here. Again, really good for brain health, letting that oxygen, that blood flow. Our brains take up something like 25% of all of our energy during the day. So really nice to replenish that with that extra supply of oxygen. And then slowly lowering back down. And then from here, just walking my knees back a little bit so I've got room, and then taking my arms forward, my hips forward, abdominals in, shoulders are rolled back and down as I slowly lower myself down to the floor, centered on my pubic bone, folding my heel up towards my bottom, and then pressing the hip, the top of my thigh in towards the mat, just to feel that sense of opening and releasing like we did on the other side. And then rolling over, grabbing my pillow on the way. And then if you need that support, just popping the pillow in between your ear and your arm, and then lengthening the working leg out. Flexing the foot, reaching the heel away into those circles. So small and sweet, just mobilizing the hip joint. Leg nice and long, hip nice and open, toes softly pointed. Ready to bring my working leg behind me, hand onto thigh, folding my foot towards my bottom, then bringing the thigh through, reaching the leg forward, sweeping it back. And again, so you can either keep the hand here if you just want that little feedback on that first stage, or you can just take the hand away. 4 more times. So I am thinking about keeping my thigh bone level with my hip socket, mobilizing my knee and my hip and reaching through and making that swoop as long as I can. And in and forward, reaching it round. 1 more set. And then enjoying that stretch there, reaching away with my big toe, lifting my arm, reaching away with my little finger there, and then that feeling of pull in opposite directions, stretching, reaching, and then if you want to, just unfolding that bottom leg. And then relaxing, ready for the rotation. So once again, I'm switching my pillow over, and I just come to the front of my mat a little bit more. Hand on top of shoulder, elbow pointing forward into those circles. So now my right shoulder blade, it might be your left, circling on the back of my rib cage there. And then from the front, lifting my elbow up and then just rolling, enjoying the stretch, bringing it back. And either continue with that. If you want that little bit more range of movement, breathing in this time, reaching the fingertips so that shoulder blade now slides across the back of my shoulder blade, Ready to lift my arm, my eye gaze opening, and then bringing the ribs back over as the arm returns. So I'll do that one more time. So just listening to your body, what would it like? And if it would like the bigger movement out of the three, reaching forward and then around the world we go. Opening, releasing, and then bringing it back. Ready to go again. So lots of options with these exercises. Just listening to the body. What does it need at this time of day? And last one, releasing, enjoying, and then bringing it back. Ready to roll onto our backs. Feet and knees together, arms down by your sides. And then just sensing you're balanced on the back of your sacrum, allowing gravity to release the knees out to the side of the room, bringing my soles of the feet together. So gently pressing those little toes together. It's almost if I was doing a prayer position with my hands, now doing it with my feet. Just relaxing in. And then bringing my knees back up, ready to go again. So we've already said that during the day our hips can get a little bit locked. So just allowing this position here to open and release that area, and either stay here with the palms facing the ceiling, shoulders away from ears, or an option, lifting the arms up and then just letting the arms drift back. Holding it there, soles of the feet gently squeezing, and as I do that, I can just feel my knees dropping that little bit further down, but it's all about undoing rather than doing, relaxing into it, not forcing anything, bringing my arms back, bringing my knees back, just folding my hands behind my head, going into some little hip rolls. So just the final stretches of the session. And rolling. And last one to this side. Knees back to the center, arms up to the ceiling. Bringing my knees up one at a time, holding the front of the thighs, dropping the ribs down, dropping my lower tummy down, and then just into some gentle circles. And the other way. Lowering the legs down, reaching them out, closing my eyes. And then just finally allowing the mind and the body to really drop into the parasympathetic nervous system, that state of rest and recovery. Either breathing in and out through the nose, or in through the nose and out through the mouth. And starting to make the out breath that little bit longer than the in breaths. If I'm breathing in for 4, I'm breathing out for 5, 6, 7 or 8. following your own rhythm, but slightly shorter in-breath. So even if I was breathing in for 6 counts, a lovely long out breath for around 10. Really quietening my mind. And science has proved time and time again that making the out breath longer than the in breath really sort of moves us out of the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, into the parasympathetic nervous system, increasing that vagal nerve tone, which is our rest, digest, release, relax, let go. And then just bringing a little smile to the corners of your mouth. Allowing the heart to open. And now taking 4 breaths in and out of your heart. Breathing in to my heart and breathing out from it. And just lying here in the state of stillness for as long as you wish. And in your own time, just opening your eyes and stretching if you would like.